Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Small Talk Bigger Ideas. I am your host, Neil Lopez, and on this podcast, I talk with fellow creatives, entrepreneurs, artists, musicians, anything of the sort, and we just basically have freestyle conversation. We talk about different things going on in the world and their life, different perspectives, and with our small talk, we hopefully can give you some motivation to come up with a bigger idea. Today's guest, none other, and I got to insert some B-roll here because he is the man when it comes to the videos, Bob Tompkins with Remax Moves. Yeah. Yep. Bob is not only a realtor, but he is a content creator. So if you don't know who he is, that's the whole purpose of him being here, plus some other things. Going to definitely leave links down in the description below. We'll also plug it verbally towards the end of the show. But Bob, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, Neil, I'm excited to be here, man.
Me too. Yeah. We've been trying to work this out for a couple months or something like that. And you're a very busy man. But Bob is no stranger to podcasts, no stranger to video. Bob has done some awfully good parodies that have went viral online. One, for instance, was Old Town Road.
And we did Old Town Realtor.
In Old Town Realtor, and then the Something Ass Kitchen.
Nice Ass Kitchen.
That's right. That was what I'm trying to. Yeah, it was a WAP parody. So hopefully I can insert some B-roll of that here, and then also leave links to those videos. So how's it going?
Good, man.
Good.
How have you been?
I've been good, trying to stay busy, doing wedding stuff, as we talked about before we started actually rolling. So everything's been good. Yeah. So what's going on in your world besides having a new baby?
Yeah, so she turns 4 months here in just a couple days. So she'll be 4 months old.
Right on. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's hectic.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Because wife just went back to work. So maternity leave just ended like a week ago.
Gotcha. First child too.
So kind of learning on the fly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun though.
I've got one. She's 16, so she's almost an adult. So I'm good. Yeah. No more for me. But you plan on having any more? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll probably either have 2 or 3.
Right.
Definitely want to try for a boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'd be cool.
I'd love to have one, but if that's not in the plans, it's not in the plans.
Right.
But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, probably 2 or 3, and then we'll probably snip.
Right. Oh, there you go. Stop it right there. No soccer team.
Hard stop.
Yeah. So tell the viewers and also the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I've been a real estate agent for 4.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my 5th year of real estate now. I've been with Remax for 3.5 years. Before that, I was a bartender. And before that, I was a student at AU studying to be a pastor.
Oh, wow.
So
big jump.
Yeah, big shift from being a pastor to a bartender.
Right.
And then settled into real estate. Both my parents are realtors, so it was kind of, a natural fit for me. I'd seen it my entire life, and felt like I could probably take what they were doing and elevate it.
Bro, elevated is like low key, like you're being humble. You've absolutely crushed it, especially around here. I mean, like I was having a conversation, like I told you, podcast last night, besides myself, because we're in Anderson, South Carolina. Everyone, just to reiterate that, it's not a very creative place. It's not tech-centric or a tech hub. Don't kill me. I'm just saying for what it is. And Bob's really the only creator that I know. I mean, there's people out there that are photographers and videographers, but I'm talking about the level of content creation, because you have your own podcasts with your friend Brad, and then you've also done the videos, and not only just the parody videos, but the actual videos for your business are like top notch.
Thank you.
So like I started seeing you from those videos, like many others. So I mean, you're not just excelling, you're killing it. But go ahead.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So obviously video we incorporated into my business about 2 years ago. I came into 2019. My business plan was pretty much solely, I want to, start bringing my marketing to a level that you see in places like LA, New York, because if that's what they're doing to succeed there, it made sense to bring it, into my business down here.
Right.
But you just didn't see anybody else doing it. So
right.
Started doing that, and then really saw over the course of the last 24 months, really saw my business blow up. So, I'm a firm believer in content for your business.
Content, video marketing, anything that you could do. And you go a step further and take it to a different level with, like your parody stuff. And it gets you on the map. And, a lot of people in business, even if you're a small business, like having video is king. There's nothing more that tells a story, tells about you, who you are, your personality, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, that's obviously going to be one of the topics we talk about today is video marketing and why it's so important. So, in your opinion, obviously, besides scaling your business and getting known and brand awareness, because you are, to me, a brand. You know, the first thing I think of, like when someone asks about real estate, and that's why I tag you, is Bob, not Remax. You know, not like Prudential, not, you know, whoever else, the brokers out there. I think Bob, you know, because it's like you've put yourself out there. So for maybe realtors that may listen to this, what was the turning point to where you said, I got to do video because video is king, besides seeing others do it, but you went into it probably not knowing exactly like how it would turn out, like most things. Why did you take a leap on it and say, I got to do this?
I think the biggest reason is everybody on social media that I take advice from, that influences me, that I see what they're doing in business. Every single one of them does video for their business. So, I mean, you look at certain people like Gary Vee.
Right.
And I, you know, it's hard not to bring up because of how prominent he is in the video marketing world. Gary Vee, the only reason I know who he is, the only reason anybody knows who he is because of video. And seeing that and then hearing his content plan that's like, hey, you want to put out 4, 5, 6 pieces of content every single week.
Right.
Taking that and say, okay, I was like, this obviously works for him. I've seen it work for some other people. Obviously no one in my local market.
Right.
But I was like, I want to try and take a leap on this and see if it does produce, you know, income for me. So my plan was that I was going to go in for 24 months. It was going to be 2019, 2020. I was going to go all in on it. And if I saw a return by the end of those 2 years, I was going to keep going.
Right.
And if I didn't, then I was going to kind of reevaluate my marketing strategy. I was pretty confident it would work. I mean, that's obviously why, if you go back and look at my early stuff, even though it wasn't great, like it's not where it is now.
Right.
It was still way better than the normal person starts at video.
Right.
Because I invested a lot of time and a lot of money into it. Because I was like, I'm committed to it. This is going to be 2 years. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there's no way, if I go in here and I just kind of throw videos up with my phone and kind of half-ass it,
right,
there's no way for me to know if it actually is going to work. So I did a hard commit and, you know, it's worked out.
Yeah, it's worked out tremendously, in my opinion. And, you know, it's all about that wow factor, right? Because you only have one time to make a first impression, blah, blah, blah. And besides you just doing videos, like the cool thing that I see with you, 2 things, is growth. Like you said, from when you first started to now, I mean, your stuff is great. And, you know, yes, I'm giving him all the praise because his shit is dope, for real. It really is. But you also have a vision. You know, you've had a vision behind your videos to where they're not just, like you said, your typical boring, non-engaging videos. There's always a wow factor, and you're always surprising folks. So that's what I like about it. So the growth has been good, obviously. Good ROI, I would imagine.
I've seen, I mean, from a gross commission standpoint, from where I was in 2018 to 2020, my 2020 gross income is more than double what 2018 was. So, I mean, it was, and that's a relatively short return. I mean, it, you know, obviously came back very quickly.
Right.
2019 was not too much of, it was pretty much the exact same as 2018.
Okay.
And what people don't understand, I feel like a lot of times they want to do something and they want to see that return right away.
Overnight, yeah.
And video is not, it's not a lead generation. It is a branding tool. So when you use it and you use it well, people learn who you are.
Right.
I'm not catching people, you know, the day of them wanting to buy a house.
Right.
You know, you put out branding stuff.
Right.
It's very rare somebody sees it and they're like, oh, I need to buy a house today. You know, normally they're going to be 2-3 years out.
Right.
Maybe even 10 years out. But if I'm getting in front of them and they're learning who I am, they're starting to trust me because they're getting to know my personality through these videos. When the time comes, my phone rings.
Right.
So I have to do very little of your prospecting, trying to go find business, because my name has gotten out there so much. And now I'm starting to see that return on it 2 years after I started
I got you.
doing video.
Yeah, because like doing video, I think is the type of thing that it needs to resonate, and like it doesn't necessarily happen immediately. It may take a few months, but then something pops up, or your content, whether it's a month old or a year old, gets shared because not everyone's seen it at once. Just the same as like when you said, if someone sees your video, they're not automatically going to say, "Oh, I need a house now." So I think a lot of folks and businesses, I still think, especially in this area, it's just, I don't know why, but they haven't grasped the concept that video is so important.
Yeah. Well, what video does for you is it allows people to get to know you without ever meeting you.
Right.
I mean, it's called a parasocial relationship, where it's a one-way relationship. I may not have any idea who a person is, but if they've watched 20 of my videos, they've developed a relationship with me. They feel like they've gotten value from me,
Right.
and then they feel comfortable calling me to say, "Hey, I want to do business with you, or I want you to represent me." And that's what people don't understand, is that it's creating these relationships over time.
Right.
And that's really the key to getting the business, because this is when my phone rings. Let's say it's another realtor sending me a client, like, they're moving in from out of state, their realtor there. They're able to go in and look at me, find out about me, say, okay, what type of production level does he do?
Right.
What's his personality like? Do I think he'll be a good fit? Without having to call me and grill me with 20 sort of interview questions. So it makes it a lot easier to pass that client along. Some people, like my mom, they don't like that I cuss in videos, or my billboard in Anderson
But
says,
that's why you're different.
yeah, it says I'm a damn good realtor.
Right.
But the thing that turns some people off, but other people, they're like, okay, I want to work with that guy. I know that he's chill. He's not going to
Yeah, it's like a sense of comfortability
Yep.
at that point, because you're like me.
Yep.
That's how you'll resonate with certain people, because not everyone is your ideal client avatar, if you will.
Yep. But they don't ever have to vet me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I've already been vetted through my own content,
Right.
which I chose to put out, and I created the image I wanted people to see.
Right.
So they're not coming here and asking me questions that I maybe don't want to answer. They're looking at what I want them to see, and they're developing an opinion on whether or not they want to work with me from that.
Right.
So I've already been vetted, which makes the interview process way easier.
Much easier. That's more comfortable when they get to see you, because they have a sense of who you are.
Yep. And they've probably already decided that they want to use me, as opposed to like, okay, we're going to ask him these 10 questions, and based on what he says, we'll decide if he's going to be our realtor or not.
Right.
That's not happening.
They probably already made up their mind.
They already made up their mind.
Yeah. And the cool thing about what you do is it goes hand in hand. Like if you are trying to sell someone's house, you already know about this stuff, like the video aspect, the video tours, the drone footage of the exterior, and you have a guy that does it, for you. Shout out Wells. So like,
And Sam Beasy.
And Sam Beasy. Okay, I got you.
Yep.
So it goes hand in hand, because like you can be the total package. Because I find a lot of realtors, like I've reached out, no lie, because I want to get into realty, like the video tours and the drone stuff, because I just got a drone and I've had one before anyway. So I want to get into real estate. I'm doing weddings. I want to kind of diversify and get into something else. So when one thing's not going, I can pick up another. A lot of realtors still ain't doing video. It's crazy.
And they don't get it. And I really don't understand it, because the way the platforms are going when it comes to video, obviously with Facebook and Instagram, I can put out video ads for these houses. So I can just take my home tour and use it there.
Right.
The bigger thing, though, is it's not just your social media platforms that are recognizing how big video is getting. Like Zillow, as a home search app, allows for me as a realtor to upload a video straight to the platform. So when somebody's going, they're not just scrolling through pictures. They can actually take a tour of the home.
Right.
So I can take these video tours, throw them in there, and then when somebody's looking at the map on Zillow, it'll show them a little video icon.
Like a preview.
Yeah, that house has a video tour if you want to look at it.
Gotcha.
So in Anderson, and I looked at this the other day, about 500 homes for sale in Anderson, all price ranges. About 20 homes that have video tours of them. And most of those are like picture slides or just a walkthrough. and even on like $1 million homes, which is ridiculous to me.
Crazy.
Why people? I mean, why if you've got $1 million asset, why would you give that to someone that doesn't know how to market?
Yeah, that and to just record on their phone or just do a slideshow. Like that's so old, and it's just not, in my opinion, it's not functional.
Well, you got to think like, and this is it's a lot of money. If I'm selling $1 million house, more than likely I'm turning around and making $25,000 to $30,000 off of that house. Why the hell are you going to pay me $25,000 to $30,000 to just walk through your house with my cell phone? Like, oh,
yeah,
here's the living room, here's the master. It's ridiculous to even think.
And the cool thing about it is if I was selling something of any significance and I already seen your content and know how you do, hands down, I'm going with you. Especially, because people will vet you, or they should at least vet you. And if I see that you're doing that kind of stuff, then it's a no-brainer. But, I've reached out to, I think last week and the week before, a total of like 11 realtors. And I was just basically, they're showing houses on their phone, right? Doing lives on Facebook. And I'm like, hey, if you want a video tour of your home that you're trying to sell, then I'm willing to do a couple here for free because I'm trying to build a real estate portfolio, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll let you know. Like, nobody bit. And I'm like, it's free.
It's crazy.
Here's some of my other work. So at least
here's the thing. What's nuts about them turning that down is you can come in there, shoot it, give it to them, and if they hate it, they don't even have to post it.
You don't even have to use it.
No.
But the problem is, it's like you'd rather use your phone. And it's like no motivation whatsoever. And I'm like, well, okay.
They're not being kicked out yet. And that's the thing, because I'm just one person. So normally I'm only going to be able to list in a given year. If I'm listing 20, 25 homes, like I'm happy. Like that's a good year.
Right.
There's thousands of houses in the upstate. Most people, they use the first realtor they talk to, or they use their friend, and it's not prominent enough. I'm the only person doing it to where they're like, okay, we have to have a realtor that has this level of marketing, because I am the only one doing it.
Right.
So as more realtors get on that bandwagon of doing video to market homes, to market themselves, in about 5 years, those people that are turning down that offer they're going to regret that they turned it down, because then they're going to see, oh my gosh, I'm losing business because these other agents are getting.
Yeah, I'm not separating myself from the pack and doing something different. It's beyond me. And the thing is like, some of them were Anderson realtors, some of them were Greenville, a couple in Williamston, and I'm like, man, what is wrong with you guys? Like, if you're not into video right now, and not saying that video is just solely the only way to go, but I mean, if you're showing a house, especially a house of some sort of significant size, what is a photo that you took with your phone going to do? Like, I'm glad you get it. I just wish others got it. But, it is what it is. And I just, took it with a grain of salt. I'm like, well, I offered, No. I'll eventually get someone that's like, yes, please, thank you. And maybe it's an instance to where they don't think they can afford it.
Right.
But it's not always the case, especially when someone's offering you something. And the only thing I'm saying is I'll use it for my portfolio.
Right.
Like you said, if you don't want to use it, then fine. You don't have to. But what is it going to hurt? Imagine if it helped you sell that house quickly because someone said, I seen your video tour of your house. That's pretty cool.
Well, and I think there's a whole other element to this too, is there's very few realtors using video nationwide. And it's actually a pretty small community when you get into it, and especially at the level that I have, there's probably only a few thousand in the country that really use it and use it well. So what that does, when you start doing it and you build the portfolio, you get better at the videos that you do, you get better on camera, you start getting recognized by people that you wouldn't ever think you would be able to interact with, and that's probably been one of the biggest benefits to my business is, like you said, we live in Anderson, small place.
Yeah.
And from 21 to 25, the only people I talked to, probably the average earner was around $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and that's maybe on the high end of what the average earner was.
Which is good for Anderson.
Which is good for Anderson,
right?
But then I started doing these videos. I started getting connected with people that make a lot more money. I started becoming, especially from the parodies, started becoming friends with CEOs and marketing strategists, and now the average person that I just have a conversation with probably is earning $300,000 to $400,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So it's gotten to a point to where once you start interacting with those people and you start marketing on a level that those people are marketing on, your thought process through everything changes because you're not worried now about, oh, okay, this video is going to cost me $1,000.
Right.
Because the way people that have money think about things is that, okay, that $1,000 could generate $10,000 worth of income for me. People who aren't spending the money, they're like, oh, I don't want to spend $1,000 because I don't know what that's going to do for me.
Right.
You know,
it's two totally different segments.
Two totally different thought processes. But that was me when I was, when the average person I talked to made $50,000 to $60,000. Everything was about how do I keep as much money in my pocket?
Right.
How do I market with $0?
Yeah.
And then once I got to the point to where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take a leap on this, and I started interacting with other people. Like Brad, you brought him up, who I do my podcast with. Brad, he probably spends $50,000 to $60,000 a year on marketing.
Wow.
And he shoots a lot of his own stuff, but it doesn't matter because he puts so much there that the return he gets on it is insane.
Right.
I mean, that dude lists more $1 million homes than anybody I know, and it's just because he puts so much into his listing videos that people recognize that.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you got to spend money to make money. I know it sounds typical and cliche, but I mean, that's the case with anything.
But you also have to spend money in the right places.
Yeah, you have to spend it wisely, and you have to do certain things and also have a strategy and a vision. It's not just, hey, spend $1,000 to make a video.
Yeah.
You have
and the banner on your kid's softball field probably doesn't help the way you think it is.
Yeah, no, not at all. Or a little clip inside of a menu of a restaurant and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you get it. Again, one of the only creators that I know around here. So since you've been growing so much and you started at a certain place, but now you've scaled up to this place, could you give any advice besides, hey, you need to look into doing video marketing, you need to have a strategy, you need to have like a growth plan for someone that's either in the business struggling or looking to get in the business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so it doesn't matter if your business is real estate or whatever. If you're like an independent contractor or you own your own business, the same thing applies. You have to have a marketing strategy.
Right.
Most people, and especially in a smaller town like Anderson, rely on the 1950s model of advertising.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. That we're just going to put out a good product. People are going to talk about our product. And then as a result, people will come have our product. For some places that works, but they're the best places. So like, some of Joe's downtown Anderson, food-wise, doesn't need to do too much marketing,
right?
Because everybody knows who they are. People talk about them,
right?
Sullivan's does not have to do a lot of marketing for their restaurant.
Mr. Rivers,
they're good places that deliver an exceptional product. Doesn't matter though if you're starting a new business, what word of mouth is there?
Right.
Oh, so-and-so is trying something new.
Right.
We all heard that when I got into real estate. People were like, oh yeah, Bob thinks he's going to be a realtor now. And, because
surprise,
people are always pessimistic though, when they see somebody trying to do something new,
right?
They're like, oh, he's trying. That's not good word of mouth, and it's hard to get word of mouth going, especially if you don't have a huge bankroll behind you. Video, in my opinion, is the best marketing strategy. So if you sit down and you build it out and you go, okay, how do I use video to get in front of as many people as possible? Obviously, you can give away product for free. Sure. Giveaways help. But to me, I think highlighting other people has been the best thing for my business. So I have a Foodie Friday series that we do every 2 weeks, twice a month.
Right.
We go out and we try different restaurants, their food, and we highlight them. We don't even talk about our own business, me and the guy that I do them with.
Right.
We just sit down, we try the food, we praise it.
I've seen it. You try all the good food, man.
We try all the good food.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, it's obvious. we try the good food, but what ends up happening is those restaurants, they cross promote it. We get in front of 8,000 to 10,000 people when we post those, and then over time they begin to figure out, okay, he sells real estate because they're seeing my other videos,
right?
And it all comes together there. But by promoting other people and other businesses and what they're doing well, what it has done is it has driven trust into my business that they know, okay, he's not just trying to sell me a house.
Yeah, he's not a shark just trying to sell me a house and get some money from me.
He's not only creating content for his business, he's also showing off other people.
Right.
So that has performed extremely well for me. And I think anybody thinking about getting into it should look at it and say, okay, how can I help other businesses? Because then those other businesses, they have followings, they have their word of mouth,
Right.
they have the people that pay attention to their business. You can kind of piggyback on that, but then, you're earning the trust of their clientele because
Right.
you've helped promote their business.
And it's just putting your face out there more. Just whatever topic or, thing that you're talking about, you're just getting more exposure. And
Right.
you're still building brand awareness. Like you do that with Foodie Friday and then Beer of the Week. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, we do
Okay.
beer of the week every week. It's my favorite thing that I do because I
bet.
get to drink beer.
But the food's pretty good too.
Yeah.
It's the food side of
The food's
videos.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And now we've gotten to a point to where we're putting so much money behind like the Foodie Fridays that the restaurants, they see the quality. So we don't pay for our own food. A lot of times the restaurants will actually put marketing spend behind the videos.
Nice.
We're getting to the point to where, I guess it takes away from some of the, how genuine the show has been in the past, but some of these restaurants are beginning to pay us. And the long-term strategy of it is to turn it into a income producing show.
Right.
If we get to the point to where we're charging $1,000 for an episode, then, we're doing that 24 times. Yes, 24 grand
Right.
that I'm getting paid to market myself.
Times X amount of places.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
So it really does. The long-term strategy of it makes a whole lot of sense because if you get to the point that you're doing a good enough job on it, you can charge people
Right.
to come and do that marketing for them. But as a result, it also markets me.
Yeah. And you're already there. So it's
Yep.
like two birds, one stone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So like you're getting some free game right now because he's basically telling you like kind of the moving parts and what you should do from, side of your video strategy and aspect and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty strong stuff.
Yeah.
The podcast that you have, Bob and Brad. Bob and Brad show. Like he's doing so much, man. It's like Beer of the Week, Foodie Friday, Bob and Brad.
Yeah.
Like where do you find out time to do all this stuff, especially just having a kid now?
So, for me, and this is why I said you have to look at it as your marketing strategy. If you don't look at it as your marketing strategy, then it's just videos that you do,
Right, right.
And so it doesn't take any sort of precedent. You just kind of push it to the side if it doesn't have a value add to your business.
Right.
So for me, the average business, they spend 14% of their profit or of their revenue back into advertising. The successful businesses, that's what you see Coca-Cola do,
Right,
what you
right.
see Pepsi do. The big ones, that's what they do. They spend 14% of their revenue back into advertising to generate people coming back to them for their product.
Gotcha.
So if they're spending 14% of their time or 14% of their money, they're probably spending 14% of their time on it too. They've got a whole marketing team that is dedicated
But the thing
to
is,
this.
you're one person.
I'm one person.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, you take these big company, their philosophies, their management structures and everything, and you break it down. That's why I said I'm looking at it from a percentage standpoint. How much of their people, how many people at corporate are paid for marketing? It's probably around 14%.
Right.
So when I break that down to just me, when I'm building my business, I want to frame it to where I'm spending roughly that same amount of time, roughly that same amount of money on my business. So my whole business plan incorporates about 14% of my time to marketing. Because video marketing is pretty much the only marketing that I do, I spend about 14% of my work week focused on it. So
I would have never guessed it. I would have figured it's like a lot more than that.
I spend about 6 hours.
Really?
Yep. So, so this is where,
But see, you got an editor and all that good jazz, but that's a team. That's still a
where
team.
you have to hire out because
Right.
if not, I'm going to spend 20 hours minimum
Right.
a week on this stuff.
Yeah, minimum.
Minimum.
Like we were talking one time at a restaurant here, Wild Wings. You were saying, man, it is taking forever for me to edit this one video. And, it's like I'll spend hours on it. So, like, having a team is beneficial. And at least getting with someone, because right off the bat, someone may not be able to pay for someone to edit a podcast or edit the videos that you put out. So, like, structuring yourself and getting set up with the right people is definitely a good thing because maybe you can wash each other's back, figuratively.
Well, and I mean, when I first got started, obviously, like having a retainer with a videographer made zero sense. I did not have the income coming in
Right.
to spend that sort of money on a retainer. So, I mean, I worked project by project when I first started.
Right.
Like, hey, I need you for this. So in the beginning, they were really just doing listing videos and my parodies. And that was it. And any other content that I did, I tried to do on my own.
Right.
So now, though, I have them on a retainer. I pay them a set amount of money every single month. They do the Foodie Fridays videos as a part of that retainer, and then we have a set pricing on any additional videos that I want done. So it makes a lot of sense for me now to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, because I get the videos at a little lower cost.
Right.
But starting off, it was like, okay, I want to use videos, but then I used more time. Like when I first started, the videos weren't nearly as good. I wasn't doing nearly as many of them, but I was probably spending 10 hours a week just on my stuff, because I was editing my own stuff, because I had more time than I did money.
Right.
As the business has generated more income, now I have more money than I do time. So I'm going to spend that money to have other people do the work for me.
Because I imagine it feels good to just show up, and
I show up to film and I'm done.
Yeah. It's like you don't have to edit, you don't have to fix this, fix that, you don't have to upload this or that. So that's pretty neat. Maybe one day for me.
Well, see, I mean, that's like the Bob and Brad show. He has a videographer that works with him, and it's an editor for him. He pays him an hourly rate, and Tyson edits the Bob and Brad show. It takes him probably an hour and a half, 2 hours to edit the Bob and Brad show.
Right.
But that's two hours that me or Brad don't have to spend on it. Foodie Fridays, I have my retainer for it. The only video that I edit myself is Beer of the Week.
Gotcha.
Because it's about a 45-minute edit. It's very simple.
Right. Yeah, usually one shot or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of just cutting out where I don't need stuff and making sure that it flows well.
Right.
So that's a 45-minute edit, and then other than that, I just show up.
Yeah.
So I show up, we film, and when I leave, I don't worry about it till the day before we have to post it, just to make sure that the video is ready.
And that's got to be such a good feeling, because you're so diversified with your content and you're just cranking it out. Like, every week I feel like I'm seeing something different from you, which is pretty cool, because again, people are seeing your face, you're getting exposure, you're building your brand awareness. You just put up a billboard in Anderson.
Yep.
So, and I understand why you did that. Like we were discussing, it's complimentary.
Yep.
Basically advertising, but also
the
I'd seen it before you even posted. I was like, look at Bob.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man. You're just doing everything.
The idea behind the billboard, and because a lot of people, especially in my line of work, they think the billboard is the advertising thing. Once you have a billboard, you've made it. So my billboard, if you haven't seen it, it says,
you got a picture of it? Not here right now. We're gonna put it on the screen. So people can see. Yeah.
So it's it is kind of what it is it's a dictionary definition that I made up.
Yeah.
It says Bob, proper noun, definition, a damn good realtor. And I'm basically shitting. I
like the way you spell it. It was like spelled weird and everything. The Bob.
Bob. So we did the like phonetics out to the side.
Yeah,
it was like BAHB, like a sheep. Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
So, but the idea with it is kind of almost mocking billboards, because so many realtors go up and put a billboard and they try to make it super professional, like to make it look like they're the best in town.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Plus, my thought process is most people know who I am through social media and my presence on Facebook. So then when they see it, it's just complimentary. It fits the brand. It's the way people think about me anyways. That's exactly the ad I think people would expect from me.
Right.
So when they see it, it's a
correlation.
Yeah. It just
into your personality. Yeah. And the thing I never got, not just with realtors, but with any business, I think people are more focused on where they're going, or at least they should while they're driving. Besides a billboard, besides it just being a billboard, like how do you measure your return on that?
I don't think there's a way to.
There's no absolute way to do that.
I know that sounds stupid from someone who just paid a lot of money for one.
But like you said, it's a different issue. Yours is like complimentary. You're not looking to generate revenue off of that.
Well, I mean, I don't know anybody that would call me and be like, hey, I saw your billboard. I want to work with you.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if the billboard has nothing about it that is like exciting.
Yeah.
If it's just your face and
it was just something
best
that
realtor
you could,
in town.
Yeah, it was just something you could do to be complimentary and funny.
Yeah.
And like, I don't understand how you could, as a business, even if I had the disposable income, I would never buy a billboard ever. It just doesn't make sense. I think what's important, well, I know what's important in businesses is like you're able to measure your return on your investment. You've got to be able to get some sort of analytics to say, okay, I spent this much money, I converted to these many customers, and this is why. Just having something that's just static doesn't do it.
Right.
Hence, video being dynamic and all the rage.
Yep.
And it's been that way for a while.
But even video is hard to track. I
Right,
mean,
it is.
because I mean, what are we doing? We're building brand and
Yeah.
we're building influence.
Right.
You know, somebody calls me and they're like, "Hey, I want you to sell my house." I'm like, "Great, how'd you hear me?" And it's like, "Oh, I just know who you are."
Like, okay, did you see a video?
Did you see a video? What prompted you to
What
call
happened?
me?
Who said something about me?
Right, but it becomes such a culmination of so many things. Oh, they've
Right.
seen 5 videos. They've talked to 2 of their friends about me. They've seen the billboard.
Right.
It's not one thing.
Right.
So, you know, the strategy becomes I want to hit people as many times as possible. But when I do that, it makes it very hard to track where the business came from.
Right.
But all I know is it's working.
Right. It's working.
You know?
And that's like really the bottom line, because like you said, with videos, you can't really measure clicks. You know what I mean? Like if you have a video as your ad creative and you have a call to action and somebody has to fill out a form, yes, you can track those conversions. But like you said, with video, it's just a culmination of other things that you're doing.
Yeah. And one thing, and this is, I mean, I may sound, this is where I may not sound very humble, is when, and this, a lot of it comes from having conversations with people that make more money. When you see the way people think about advertising spend, typically the poorer income people that don't have very thriving businesses, the way they think about stuff is, if I'm going to spend $20 here, how am I going to make it back?
Right.
So where's my lead? How am I tracking this? That's what they're concerned with. I guarantee you go talk to Coca-Cola is not concerned about how much income they made off of the commercial that they put out.
Right. They just put it out
They
there
just put it out.
because they know they have to continuously have some synergy with their brand.
Yep. What they're concerned about is that people are always thinking about their business. So like what you said earlier, I can't remember if it was on camera or not, about how when people bring up real estate, you don't think Remax.
Right.
You think
Bob.
And that's what I want. But if I stop putting out videos, if I stop putting out advertisements, you stop thinking about me.
Exactly.
Because we live in a society that is very, we have very short attention spans. You know, we're always on to the next thing.
Right.
So if I'm not hitting you with new content every week, you're gonna forget about me pretty fast. I would say, like, you know, I'll put out a piece of content a week ago, and I'm like, man, it feels like forever since I put out a piece of content. It's
Right.
been 7 days.
Right.
And that's, if I feel that way, then I know for a fact the people consuming content feel even more so that way. They don't even know they feel that way because they can't remember that I
Right.
put out any
'Cause
content in the first place. Because
life would get in the way.
life moves on, so I've always got to have something else coming out. So, but that's the thing, is if you focus on what is the return of this one video, then you're losing, you've lost sight on what actually matters with it
Before you even started it.
before you've even started, because you've got to be focused on, okay, how do I get people to know who I am? How do I stay top of mind? The return is top of mind awareness. The return is not money in your pocket.
Right.
Top of mind awareness turns into money.
Exactly.
The return is top of mind awareness.
Yep.
So the billboard that I got, just the picture that I took and posted on Facebook is worth every penny I put into the billboard, because it got like 600 plus reactions, like 250 comments.
Yep.
At that point, the billboard has done everything I need it to.
Right. And now people are looking for it.
And now people are looking for it.
Yeah.
So what it does is it keeps me top of mind. And that matters way more to me than any sort of dollar, because top of mind awareness brings me money.
Yeah, because you know eventually it's going to have that roll down effect, and it's going to keep you out there and keep people talking about you. And that's another thing, like, about video marketing. You don't just do one and done.
Right.
You never just do one and done. I've found businesses to say, you know, hey, how much for this video? Okay, $750 for one video. Yeah, it takes a minute to do that. Literally, even if it is a minute video, it takes longer to do a minute video and get it out there.
Well,
but
and this is the thing: if you don't want to spend $750 on that video, then buy the equipment, do it yourself.
exactly, yeah.
But it's gonna suck.
But it's like, well, I don't have. It's either I don't have time or the know-how. It's really the know-how, because you have time. Because if you're struggling in your business, you're not that busy.
Well, I mean, when I sit down from someone, sit across from someone, they're selling $200,000 house, and I tell them, you know, my portion of the commission is going to be, you know, $6,000. They're like, why would I pay you $6,000? It's like, I mean, you can sell your house. You can go down to Lowe's. You can buy a for sale by owner sign. You can write your number on it, stick it in the yard.
Right.
You can go through, you can go take pictures of your house with your cell phone. You can throw them on Zillow. You can deal with all the showings on your own. People are going to blow you up. Not only that, you're going to have realtors calling you all the time wanting to list your house for you. You have to deal with all those phone calls. You have to sort through
inspections.
You have to deal with inspections. You have to deal with legal paperwork you know nothing about. So now you got to go find the paperwork. Who's going to show you what paperwork you need? You're going to call your attorney. Your attorney's going to charge you money to put that paperwork together for you. So no matter what you do, like, you're going to make your life very difficult. You can do it, but I know what I'm doing. I do it, 30 to 40 times a year.
Right.
It's very simple for me.
Right. The offset of the money is way better having you do it because
you can drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. Like, don't look at that.
And when you look at it from the other side of getting video marketing done, you're never going to put the video out because you're going to get so bogged down in not knowing what you're doing.
Right.
People ask me, like, for the stuff I edit myself, which for the most part, the stuff I edit myself is pretty simple. And I've still put 30 to 40 hours worth of educating myself on how to use Adobe.
Right.
How do I do aperture and ISO and
how do I make this cut look good, transition, blah, blah, blah.
Why is my slow-mo glitchy? Because I didn't put it in the right frame rate. I had to learn all this stuff to do simple videos. If I want to do something complex, I'd need another 100 hours learning to even be halfway decent at it. Right. And I don't have that time. That's why I pay that out.
It's not easy, as everyone thinks.
No, it's not easy.
Not at all. Photography is a different story. Yes, you still have to have composition, your exposures, your lighting. Video is a totally different beast. Like, if you're thinking about doing video marketing yourself for your business, just don't. Focus on running your business and let someone like me or someone else do it.
And just being honest, obviously I want to be able to plug your business and, and say, like, hey, hire Neil. Yeah. But for some people, it's just not feasible. If you're brand new to the business and you have very little money, you've got to do it yourself. Right. But the thing is, you've got very little money, you've got very little business, you got a lot of time. Right. And that's where those people can actually learn. You can get like an Osmo gimbal, throw your cell phone in it, and if you got an iPhone 12 or you got a Pixel 5 that's coming out and it shoots really good video. Yeah. You can do that. You can get an Osmo, you can learn how to do stuff, but you're going to have to put in my opinion, hundreds of hours in learning how to do it for it to be quality.
Shooting on a phone is the easy part, but then to have a quality, decent output of a product, that's the other part. But like, that is not a bad idea if you don't have the money to do it. At least just start making content.
Right, because what it's going to do is it's going to create top of mind awareness, which is going to generate business. And as you generate business, you'll lose time. As you lose time, you'll need to hire it out. Right. And that is the cycle of that. You want to get to the point, though, that you're paying a videographer because it's not my job to make videos. It's my job to sell houses.
Just as my job is not to sell houses.
Right. Yeah. So what I need to focus on my job. So if I can spend 6 hours a week on video and put out 4 videos a week, that's what I need to do because I need as much time because I'm not making money off the videos. The videos are designed to make me money. Right. But I'm not making money off the videos. Right. So if you have the time, learn how to do it, invest in it. But then when you get to the point that you don't have the time, you got to pay it out. Right. And a lot of these big producing realtors, the ones that you've called and offered free service to, they don't have the time. Right. They don't have the time to learn how to do video, so they need to be paying someone to do it.
Apparently they don't have the want either.
They don't see the value.
It yet. Yeah. That's crazy because it's been going this way for years. So I don't understand.
But you got to think, if somebody's been doing business for 20 years, old school, and they're making $200,000 a year, they don't see why they need anything. Right. And in 5 years, when a quarter of their business has gotten pulled from them, from people that are doing it, and now they're only making 140, 150.
They're like, oh, what happened?
Now they can't afford the lifestyle that they've built around a $200,000 income. Then they're going to notice they're going to be late to the party. Right.
I understand it's tough with everything going on right now. I really do. Like, sometimes financially you just can't do a lot of stuff, especially this year. I get it.
But that's a point to the videos. So like I started in 2018, 2019, there was no difference. Then we hit a pandemic year, a year that you think things would suck, and my income more than doubles. Wow. And that's because
it's been a crazy buyer's market.
The real estate market in general has been crazy, but the people that are marketing well are the ones that have, just exploded to the top. Because what is it? People are stuck at home. If you see a realtor at church every Sunday, From March to August, you didn't.
Yeah.
So you know who they forgot about? That realtor. And you know who they saw? The people that were online. Me.
Yep.
You know, that's who they saw, so that's who they called.
Right.
You know, I mean, my team is myself and my parents. My team, we have done over $10 million worth of real estate transactions this year.
Wow.
Which is insane when you think about we're in Anderson.
Right. Anderson, pandemic. Yeah.
You would not think that somebody in their fourth full year in the business at that time, you know, the beginning of the year, I was in my fourth full year. You would not think that someone that green would do 10 million plus in a pandemic year when the most I'd ever done in a year was 4 million.
Wow.
But it's the marketing.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. You positioned yourself, you had a plan, you executed your plan, and it's just keeps on going from there.
Yep. So, you know, it becomes to where you stop thinking about, okay, how can I make 6 figures a year? And now you start going, okay, how can I make 6 figures 4 times, 5 times? You know, how can I make, you know, I would have never thought when I was 23, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, and just getting into the business, my mindset was never like, oh, maybe one day I could make $500,000 a year. And now it's, I mean, that's still a ways away, but it's like, oh no, I see the path.
Right.
I see how I can get there.
Right.
Which where we live is an atrocious amount of money. But I mean, it's feasible, and I would have never thought it was until I started incorporating video into my business, and I was like, oh wow, this actually can do, because I don't work nearly as hard. I mean, you got to think, like, when I had listings that just had pictures, you know, I was getting called all the time by the sellers. When are you going to do an open house? When are we going to have this happen? When are we going to do this?
Running back and forth,
you know. And now that I've done I do the videos, it's, hey, we're going to put some more money behind the ad. We're going to put the video here.
Yeah.
We're going to do it and there's way less running around, because the sellers can see that video is going to generate way more traffic to my house than an open house ever would.
Right. And it kind of helps, maybe, I don't know, that's just my assumption, weed out certain people that may just be tire kickers, right?
Yeah.
Because if they're really serious and they've seen the video, then like they may actually want to even just go ahead and give you an offer. Like a lot of times people, especially these days, I wouldn't imagine they want to keep meeting. You know, they may just see your video and love it and say,
well, I had a buyer on a house that I sold back in August or I think we closed in September. The buyer had driven past the house 3 or 4 times and had decided that they didn't want to view it. Then on Zillow, saw the video, watched it, and was like, okay, maybe we do need to check the house out.
Nice.
They went in, checked the house out, made an offer, and we closed on it. And the video brought a buyer to the house that would have never been there.
Right.
You know, which that does way more. Like an open house, somebody would have driven by and been like, no, I don't want to go in. You know, they would have made that decision before they ever stepped foot in the house.
Especially if there was other people there right now. Yeah.
And that's what the videos do. It allows people to actually step in the house and see the house without actually going into the house.
Right.
You know, and what the interesting metric I've seen is that my showing numbers has actually gone down from before I did videos. Less people are viewing the homes, but the people that are viewing the homes,
sales numbers
are
going
way
up.
more serious. Well, because the thing, it's weeding out what you said, tire kickers.
Right.
People that don't know if they actually are interested in that house, they can see the video and they'll be like, no, it's not for me.
Right.
That's not a problem for me. It's less inconvenience for my seller. My seller's not having to pack up and leave the house for 2 hours so somebody can come in and view their house that isn't really serious.
It just makes more sense.
It makes
much more functional.
Sense. It's way more functional.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's a better service, because you got to think somebody sits down, you know, across the table from another realtor, and that realtor says, hey, this is how much we charge. Then they sit down for me and I'm like, hey, this is how much I charge. They're comparable numbers. Sometimes they're the same number. And my marketing package looks 20 times better than that realtor's marketing package. And they're like, wait, we're paying the same amount for both of these services? They're always going to hire me.
Oh, yeah.
They're always going to hire me.
Yeah, that's why you're the GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, I might make a little less money per transaction because I'm having to spend more on my marketing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if I make $500 less, but I do 20 more transactions.
Exactly. It's the impression that you make, you know? I mean, it's this what not only resonating beforehand, but it's the impression that you make on them during, after, you know, that you're then their realtor and whoever else maybe in their family or friends, you're then the go-to guy.
Yep. But then it also gets me to a point with sellers. It doesn't only eliminate tire kickers on the buyer's end, it also eliminates it on the seller's end. People that just want to throw their house out on the market to see what happens. It eliminates those because I have a clause in the contract with me that if you terminate the agreement to sell your house without like reasonable cause, if somebody has like a death in the family or something, there's reasonable cause. But if they don't have that, they have to reimburse me for my marketing spend.
Gotcha. So that way you're not totally out.
Right. No, I mean, if the entire agreement expires and they don't want to relist, they don't owe me that money. But if they decide a month in, we decided we don't want to sell our house, it's like, okay, well, you've got to reimburse me.
Right. That's good.
So, but it gives me,
because you still got the content.
Yeah. But now I'm at the point to where when people are sitting down for me, they want to hire me because of the video. So if I tell them, hey, you have to agree to this clause or we don't do the video marketing. They're like, no, that's the whole reason we want to hire you. Right. So they're going to agree to reimburse me if they walk away.
Yeah. That's good. That's kind of not necessarily a complete win-win, but it's still good. Yeah. You got a good offset.
It protects me.
Yeah. And you got a good offset just in case something does happen.
Yep.
That's cool. Yep. I got a question for you. It's a burning question every time I see you.
Yeah.
Most of your audience and your marketing is, would it be fair to say, on Facebook?
For the most part, yeah.
Well, why do you hate YouTube so much, man?
I don't hate YouTube. I think a lot of it for me is that I had an audience on Facebook already.
Right.
And I knew I could appeal to them. And on YouTube, you don't start with the audience.
And it's easier because they're just there on Facebook all the time.
Yep. And you have to build the audience on YouTube. Now, obviously, a good video on YouTube, can get a lot more traffic over a long period of time. Because on Facebook, I put a video out. If it does not perform well in the first 2 days, it's toast.
No synergy from that algorithm.
Yep. It is not going to get out in front of people. Facebook's going to bury it. With YouTube, I mean, it could be, 3 months in, you change the thumbnail on it, then all of a sudden your click-through rate goes up.
Right.
And, it can pop.
It's for me, the thing is, like, with your parodies especially, like, from the views that you've gotten, you got a little coin off of it. But it's not, like I understand with talking to you more, it's not always about just money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm starting to build out into YouTube. Brad, who I do my podcast with, is very big on YouTube. He makes money off of his channel. So, and his channel is just marketing his business. So, he's making money off his channel. He's got like 3,000 subscribers. And he's got like average watch time. I think it's like 32 hours a day.
Wow, that's good.
In watch time. So, people are on his channel, they engage. And from talking to him a lot, I've been starting to see, okay, this is, it really is a good avenue to go down. It's just a matter of building out the pages for everything. So I've started putting Beer of the Week on there, started Foodie Fridays, putting it on there. But, those channels only have like 10 subscribers at the time because I just started them.
Right.
So patience is normally not something that I have a lot of.
Right.
So that's really been my biggest hold off on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I just like to give you a hard. I like to give you a hard time about it because I'm like kind of not the YouTube guy, but it's just kind of where I sort of live as far as anything that I do. Whether it's my personal videos, podcasts, whatnot, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, what do you have in store for 2021? What's your plan?
So we're gonna start a couple more video series.
Goodness,
which is crazy. But what I'm doing in a lot of respects with it is dialing back how many videos for each series are being put out like every single month. So like the Bob and Brad show is only going to 2 episodes a month.
Okay.
Foodie Fridays used to be every week. Now it's 2 episodes a month.
Gotcha.
We're gonna have. I don't want to spill too many beans.
Oh, that's fine.
But we're gonna have 2 new series that highlight different homes and different areas of the upstate. That's going to be 1 video a month. So at the end of the day, then when you have Beer of the Week, I'll be putting out about 7 or 8 videos per month.
That's a lot. It's still a lot.
That's before Beer of the Week. After Beer of the Week, it's like 12 videos a month.
Oh, wow.
So it will be a ton. And that's before listing videos. That's before parodies. I've got a parody dropping on.
You're killing it, bro.
Well, we're hoping to drop the parody on January 1st.
I'm still not buying January 1st new parody.
That's what we're hoping.
That'd be something good to have for the new year.
That's
something to make us laugh, hopefully.
It should.
It always does, anyways.
It should.
But I'm not buying into this 14% of your time. There's no way. Even even with you just showing up, it seems like so much that you do, you know?
Well, my mind stays on it. The marketing stuff to me, it like as far as office hours and how much time I spend from 9 to 5 in office hours, it's about 14%.
Okay.
But after 5, what I've spent my time on at night thinking about game planning, you know, whether it's writing lyrics for a parody video or trying to set up, you know, a guest on the Bob and Brad show, that stuff, I mean, I do work on that stuff outside of what I consider office hours, but the marketing is kind of my passion within the business. So I'm willing to spend more time on it. But for someone who's thinking about doing it, you only need to spend 14% of your time, 14% of your money. Like, you don't need to go beyond that. But if you want your stuff to be at the level mine is, you probably do need to spend more time than that on there. I mean, just that's where my mind exists. I stay there all the time. So,
I got you.
You know,
right on. Well, that's good. So you got some new stuff in the works for 2021. Where do you see yourself going, hopefully, in the next, let's just say, 2-3 years with your business?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping to build the team out, have a group of agents underneath me.
Okay.
That
start your own brokerage?
Nah, I'm not going to do that.
No, you love Remax.
I'm way too loyal to Remax.
Did you even get a tattoo?
I do have Remax tattooed on my thigh. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm very loyal to Remax.
I got you.
But a lot of that to me, and it just has to do with liability. I have way less liability, way less responsibility as a team leader underneath a brokerage. And it's really not a substantial pay increase for me to go do my own thing.
It's probably a lot more time, a lot more headache.
A lot more time, a lot more headache, a lot more, I mean, from like a liability standpoint, tons more responsibility. For a marginal pay increase, it's just not It's just not worth it.
Right. And if you are staying on the same trend, because not only do you just do this stuff to get yourself out there, I can tell you're passionate about it and you're having fun. And that's like, for me, like that's the reason why I do stuff, is because I have fun doing it. That's why we're sitting here now. I enjoy doing my podcast more than my YouTube review on gear videos, because I feel like it's more substance, you know what I mean? But like you have fun with your stuff.
Well, like this stuff to me is so much fun. I mean, that's a big reason why me and Brad have our own podcast is this helps me flesh out my ideas. It helps me think through stuff, just sitting down and talking. So like the content not only, you know, informs or, you know, helps get my name out or brand, you know, my brand or whatever. It also helps me develop my thought processes. It helps me kind of see, okay, maybe I haven't been thinking about this right.
It's a mental flush.
Yeah, it's a mental flush to be able to sit down and talk. So I love doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting to really dig doing the podcast. I'm actually going to take a break from doing review stuff because it's so typical, and I feel like I need to take it to the next level if I'm going to do that stuff. But I'm going to focus more on this. Yeah, because this is still content. And it's good to collaborate with others, especially other creatives, entrepreneurs, you know, all alike, stuff like that. We've been rolling for a minute, over an hour. That's how it goes on this. So I'm not going to take up a bunch more of your time, but links to all of Bob's current social media channels are going to be in the description. And for the listeners, like on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, go ahead and throw out your links there that they can find you on. Yeah.
So Facebook and Instagram is at Bob Tompkins Realtor. So that's my personal page for both. My business page on Facebook is Better Call Bob Tompkins. So, you know, kind of a play on Better Call Saul. I love that TV show.
Yeah, man, it's one of the best. Yeah. Besides Breaking Bad.
Yep. And then on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, believe on iHeart as well. Is the Bob and Brad Show.
Gotcha.
So you search the Bob and Brad Show, it should be the first thing that pops up. So.
Oh yeah, and then also besides, if you're looking at this on YouTube, I'm going to put the links in the description, but also in the description of this podcast episode, hopefully I can do those hyperlinks there. Yeah. So everyone can check out your stuff. And the YouTube channel, let's get him some subscribers. If you're getting onto the YouTube, what is your YouTube channel name?
Well, it's just Bob Tompkins.
Just Bob Tompkins. Yeah. Everything Bob Tompkins. Yeah. He's going to come up regardless.
Yeah. So I mean, if you search Bob Tompkins, you know, it'll come up. And it's right now I've only got 4 videos on my YouTube channel.
It's all good, man. You're putting more up there, so.
Yeah. The YouTube channel, at least my personal one, is geared completely to the parodies.
Gotcha.
So the hope is if we're able to get it where we want to, I'll be dropping a parody every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
So the channel won't have a ton of content on it,
Still.
but every piece of content is going to be high quality.
Yeah, gonna be fire regardless. Just like that one girl that started her channel out of a van, like living out of a van and with her white snake or something like that. As soon as she posted a video, she had like, I think it was like 200,000 or 300,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It's stupid crazy. And she has like maybe now after a year, 20 videos.
Wow.
That's it. So yeah. Anyways, go subscribe to his channel. All the other links are down in the description below. And I appreciate you coming on, brother. I really do.
I appreciate you having me, man. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. Same here. Everyone go follow Bob. And we appreciate you being on this episode of Small Talk Bigger Ideas. And until the next one, take care.